She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we are cruising into this Saturday night. 2 full hours of paranormal fun just waiting for you. So I hope you're all ready. I'm ready for it. I'm all amped up and ready to go. And I know that I'm not alone here. I'll tell you what, there's another person here that just can't wait to jump into the airwaves with me. And that is my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard. How you doing, brother?
I envy people that grow old gracefully. They age like a fine wine. I'm aging like milk, getting sour and chunky.
You are like a fine aged glass of milk, as am I. I'm like more like cottage cheese here, but yeah.
I'm still slightly runny.
Oh, yeah, well.
Dry cottage cheese at that.
That's what I've heard.
Oh, how are you?
I'm all right.
It's Saturday night.
It is. It's Saturday night. Last night went really good. We had a good show last night. A lot of people hanging out here with me, but I'm glad you're here with me tonight. How's everything for you?
Everything's great for me, but I just noticed there's already a thumbs down.
Wow, why put it off till later?
I know. Why wait? Why wait for the show to actually start?
Apparently our intros really suck.
Yeah, well, you know. Oh, well.
Boy, we really wrecked the intro.
Gosh.
That's what they're judging us on. That's maybe
gotcha.
that intro.
That's
I did do the
it.
intro out of sequence, so that's not
Tough noogies, buddy.
Yeah, well, I like to mix it up a little bit here on the show. So, but welcome everybody. We got 2 hours to go tonight, and a lot of fun to get through as we try to do here on the Paranormal Portal. We try to have a good time, and hopefully you're here for a good time too, and not just not just swinging by for a drive-by thumbs down.
It's a quickie thumbs down.
Yeah, just to throw some thumbs down, and then if that's all you want to do, that's fine.
There's another one.
Ooh, might as well have 2.
Yep.
Go change accounts, see if you can get a 3rd.
Yes. If I catch you, doggone it, I'm gonna
staple you up by your short hairs. All right,
goodness.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot on the board tonight, but we've hopefully we're going to get to calls in the second hour. So if you got something to share via phone call, you want to call into the show, you can certainly do that.
That's good.
The number for that is 720-923-0500. And, we'd love to hear from you. So if you want to be a part of the show, but definitely do that. If you have things to share, but you're kind of freaked out by the whole concept of calling in, feel free to email us. We always love to get emails from our listeners as well. And you can email the show at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. And that'll get you to me as well. So either way, but if you send in something for reading on a show, don't send it in the night of the show you want it read, because I'm just not that adaptable. I'm very rigid, and I have to plan out my evenings prior. Sometimes people are like, hey, I sent you an email. Go ahead and read it. And it's like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I've got... I don't know. Everything's laid out so.
There is a method to the madness, and something that steps in between. And the madness just comes up, and the method goes away.
Right. Not to mention that I'd like to have a chance to pre-read things before I put them on the show. So if you want things shared on the show, that's wonderful. But send them to me, with enough time that I can look over them and plan where they're going to be in the show. So anyway, folks, we've got a lot to get through tonight, and always the best place to start, Don,
is the news.
The news. Ready, ladies and gentlemen? Here we go. Let's get to the news. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on the Paranormal Portal news desk. I'm your anchor. I've been called an anchor before, or more. Maybe it was a brick, or a ball and chain, or something like that. Anyway. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, by my co-correspondent here, Mr. Don Longbeard. And we're going to bring you into the Paranormal Portal news and see what we can chum up in the waters here. So we'll see. There's some decent articles tonight.
Oh, nice.
Actually, there's more tonight than I had.
Something for me to give my smart, wise opinion on.
There's always room for your opinions, Don. That's what makes the show. when you pontificate.
Don's opinion corner.
Yeah. Maybe you should have your own news segment. I think that's a great idea.
Oh, God.
For when you're here.
Oh, no.
From the Beard Zone or
the Beard Zone.
Don's Beard Vision. And we can have you do your own news segment. I think that'd be good. But in lieu of that, since we haven't planned that ahead, we've got an article from unexplained-mysteries.com, and this is U.S. Navy ships buzzed by unidentified objects. And this is not news, but it's a news story that popped up, so I thought I'd share it with you. And we'll see what the hell's going on here. And let's see what they're talking about, because it sounds like what they've been talking about since 2014 or 2007, whenever the first one was. But it says government documents have revealed that USS Nimitz Tic Tac UFO incident was not an isolated case.
Ooh.
Last year, documentary filmmaker Dave Beatty had conducted research when he discovered evidence of something remarkable. Records of a series of bizarre incidents involving groups of unidentified objects buzzing U.S. Navy destroyers off the coast of California as recently as 2019. These events were laid bare in documents later obtained by the Drive through the Freedom of Information Act, which suggested that 2004's Tic Tac UFO, I guess it was 2004, okay, was by no means unique. I'm just bone dry. According to reports, the incident, which occurred around 100 miles from Los Angeles, involved multiple vessels, including the USS Kidd, USS Rafael Peralta, USS Russell, USS John Finn, and the USS Paul Hamilton. Events began at around 10 p.m. on July 14th, when a mystery object described as a UAV, unidentified aerial vehicle, appeared near the USS Kidd. After the object, God, I'm screwing this up. As the other nearby ships were made aware of this situation, other sightings occurred, with one vessel reporting a flashing red light and another reporting a white light hovering over its flight deck.
Wow.
The following night, the mystery objects returned again, this time in greater numbers.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, that's not good.
A space navy.
Right, yeah. The sightings continued for 3 hours, far longer than the operationally capability of most commercially available drones. And none of the crews were available to identify what they were able to, rather. Immediately following the incident, a formal investigation was launched that would end up coming to the attention of officials at some of the highest levels of government. According to the documents, however, no conclusive explanation was ever found.
It only talks about they saw lights. It doesn't
Right.
talk about size, shape.
No, it really
anything.
doesn't. And perhaps the actual reports were much more robust than that. But
Redacted.
maybe redacted, maybe redacted or reacted or whatever the
There's
hell I
this
just
thing
said.
in your mouth called a tongue.
I know it. I swear to God, it feels like a dry pillow right now. I should get a lozenge.
Like I said, dry cottage cheese.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's interesting though. I didn't. It doesn't surprise me though because it stands to reason that wasn't just the only time.
Right.
But that's just an assumption. So there is actually record of more of those happening. So
Now, you said that was off the coast of L.A., right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. California coast
Yeah,
again.
Somebody was asking about that. So.
Yep, in the same region. So now there is, ladies and gentlemen, there's speculation that there might be an underwater base off the coast of California. And by underwater, I don't mean ours. I mean possibly theirs.
Now I know where all those damn Californians came from.
Ooh. It explains a lot. No, but, there's that weird shelf that allegedly goes underneath
Right.
California as far as a shearing on the tectonic plate, and some people have suggested
Right.
maybe there's alien bases down there, and maybe there is. I don't know. What the hell do I know? But it is interesting that there's so many contacts in that region.
What sense would there be in building a underwater space base or alien base, secret base, whatever, on a plate we know is, that moves?
Well, they probably are advanced enough to be able to move
You think they
out of the way in case something's really going to...
They got their car jacks up there
Right.
and
But I mean,
jacking them up.
think of the one place we don't go much
Stay there.
is in the water.
Especially
I mean, that's...
in California.
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, just the fact that we go to mountains, we go to to deserts, to all the dry lands above sea level. We're all over the place. The one place we're not, and it's reflected directly in how much of the ocean has actually been researched and cataloged.
Right.
We're not in the water much. We don't do well there. So if I was going to try to be left alone most of the time, that's where I'd do it. I'd put it right where we don't go. And
The Marianas Trench.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. What was that old movie, the one where they took that weird submersible down? They had to breathe liquid and stuff, and
The Abyss.
The Abyss. Yeah, that was really interesting. But it makes sense to me. If they want to be left alone, away from us, the best place to do it is where we don't go, and we don't go in the water much, folks. We're getting better, but it's definitely not our strong point.
What?
Here's another article. This is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com, and this is weird mutant rabbit walks around on two legs. That's very strange.
It's more than one. It's rabbits.
Rabbits. There's a whole breed of them, apparently. Scientists believe that they have determined why a peculiar strain of rabbit walks around doing a handstand. The rabbits, which for the last 100 years have walked around on their two front legs,
Wow.
had left geneticists scratching their heads. But now a new study has revealed that their odd behavior is all down to a genetic mutation that could have been hidden in their genetic code for generations. Native to France, the rabbits were first identified after a domesticated one was found living in a Parisian suburb in 1935. The animals walk around normally on four legs most of the time, but if startled or in a rush, they suddenly lift themselves onto their front legs and do a handstand.
Wow.
Ta-da!
Better than I can do.
So rather than flee, they try to impress you.
Dazzle them with brilliance.
Yep. It's now believed that the strain known as the Alfort jumper is also more prone to blindness. The strain has been kept since then to study the ocular malformations and pathological locomotion. Study co-author Miguel Carneiro of the University of Porto in Portugal told Gizmodo rabbits carrying this mutation would not be able to survive long in the wild.
You think?
Apparently, the wolves and foxes aren't impressed due to its deleterious effects.
Is it delicious effects?
Maybe. The mutation in these rabbits appears to affect what is known as the RORB gene. Well, what's happening when you're moving is that you have these neurons firing all the time, and they coordinate muscle contractions and receive feedback on the balance and the different limbs. The said study co-author Leif Anderson from Uppsala University in Sweden. This coordination of muscle contraction is not correct in these rabbits.
You think?
Well, it's like those fainting goats.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, hey, that's a great defense mechanism. Just freeze up and
Play dead.
Yeah, go completely comatose. That'll keep the predators away. No, there's a reason these things thrive in captivity and not in the wild.
Yeah, because they're too damn easy to catch.
That's a genetic anomaly that nature will shear off real quick. But there you have it. It is strange, and but it's also interesting because it gives us, I'm sure, researchers a pretty impressive opportunity to research these kind of things and understand how the brains work. I'm getting better. I'm getting hydrated a little bit. Okay. So that's the handstand and rabbits, folks. And if you hadn't heard of that before, now you have. Beautiful. I don't know. It's weird that we so for instance, like little tea kettle dogs. I mean, realistically,
Teacup dogs.
yeah, little teacup dogs and stuff. Realistically, as far as dogs go, they're I mean, I guess they can be noisemakers and stuff, but they're not going to probably intimidate anyone away from hurting you, whereas a German Shepherd or something is. So it's like these vanity things that have been
Bred into
them, yeah, for whatever reason. And, I guess it's neither here nor there, but it is kind of interesting. These are actually almost genetically modified, almost GMO animals, right? Because they promote those defects.
Right.
So interesting.
So Rachel gets it right. Says fainting goats,
Yeah.
and now head-standing rabbits. What will tomorrow bring? I postulate planking possums.
They plank really good on the road. Apparently, I've seen a bunch of planking possums.
Yep, they're pretty good barbecued on a wood plank. That's for sure.
Yeah. I heard possum is terrible to eat.
I wouldn't know. I haven't tried it.
I'm
Actually.
surprised, actually. That's why I threw that out there. Is I thought, well, anybody's going to know if they're good
Oh, you were
grilling.
fishing for me. I see.
If anybody knew, it would
Next
be
time,
done.
just throw the fish.
Yeah. No, I heard that's.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe there's a special way to prepare them or something,
Yeah.
but they're apparently not a real good tasting thing. But they're cute little guys.
You know what's really good? Rabbit.
I'll bet. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it doesn't surprise me much. Tender little morsels that they are. I'm sure they cook up real good.
They do.
Have you've eaten rabbit?
Potatoes. Yes, of course I've eaten rabbits.
What's taters? What's taters, precious?
Potatoes. Boil them, smash them, stick them in a stew.
Stupid fat habits.
Sorry.
Give them to me raw and wriggling.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so the next one, folks, outside of the impressions here, we're going to move on to another news story. And this is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Scientists are hoping to redefine the second.
The second what?
The time,
the time
measurements, yeah. Because apparently the definition we got isn't good enough. I don't know. I don't know what the hell this means. Advances in science are making it possible to measure the passage of time more accurately than ever before. Ben Morden, a professor of photonics and quantum sciences at the University of Surrey, takes a look at why scientists are hoping to redefine the length of time that passes in 1 second. Wait a minute. This sounds long and dry. No, not too bad. Not too bad.
Get your waters ready.
Yeah, let me just check the time here. We got 9 minutes. I think we can be okay here.
I think you'll be all right.
All right, everyone needs to know the time, and ever since the 17th century, Dutch inventor Christian Huygens made the first pendulum clock. People have been thinking of good reasons to measure time more precisely. Getting the time right is important in so many ways, from running a railway to doing millisecond trades on the stock market. Now, for most of us, our clocks are checking themselves against a signal from atomic clocks like those on board of the Global Positioning System satellites. But in recent study by 2 teams of scientists in Boulder, Colorado, might mean these signals will get much more accurate by paving the way to effectively allowing us to redefine the second more precisely. Atomic clocks could become so accurate, in fact, that we could begin to measure previously imperceptible gravity waves. Oh, okay. Modern clocks are still use Huygens' basic idea of an oscillator with a resonance, like a pendulum, or a fixed wavelength that will always move back and forth with the same frequency, or a bell that rings with a specific tone. The idea was greatly improved in the 18th century by John Harrison, who realized that smaller, higher frequency oscillators have more stable and pure resonances, making clocks more reliable. Oh, nice. Nowadays, most everyday clocks use a tiny piece of quartz crystal in the shape of a miniature musical tuning fork with very high frequency and stability. Not much has changed with the clock design in the past 100 years, although we've gotten better at making them more cheaper and reproducible. The massive difference these days is the way that we check, or discipline quartz clocks. Up until 1955, you needed to keep correcting your clock by checking it against a very regular astronomical phenomena, like the sun or the moons or of Jupiter. Now we discipline clocks against natural oscillations inside of atoms. Wow. The atomic clock was first built by Louis Eisen, and used to redefine the second in 1967, a definition that has remained the same since.
It's worked for me.
Apparently, it works by counting the flipping frequency of a quantum property called spin in the electrons in cesium atoms. Okay. This is a natural resonance that is so sharp that you can tell if your quartz crystal clock signal wanders off in frequency by less than 1 part in 10 to the 15th power. That's a millionth of a billionth. And 1 second is officially defined as 9,192,631,770 cesium electron spin flips. Okay, well, this is
Got dry.
This is really...
Yep, go on.
Yeah. Okay, so they're going to redefine the second, folks. Wow. Whew, that's amazing. And you heard it here first, maybe.
Sorry.
I don't know. That turned out way less interesting
than it sounded.
I'm sure it's really important news to somebody out there, or some people out there that need to have that kind of precision.
But I thought the Swiss had time precision.
They did, until they've redefined precision, apparently.
Apparently so.
By the quantum fields.
Well, that's true.
It's a whole new standard.
A little bit of a point there.
Like, the what was it? The horseless carriage was quick at one point, but now we got bullet trains and airplanes. So
and
the standard changed.
Maglev.
Yeah, maglev trains. Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to the next. If there is a next, is there a next? There is a next. This one's weird and creepy. Creepy, weird, but cool. And I don't know what the hell's going on, but we're going to see. Because this one I thought, wow, this is powerful. This is another one from unexplained-mysteries.com. Woman survives after heart stops for 6 hours.
6 hours?
6 hours, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
A 34-year-old hiker succumbed to hypothermia after getting caught in a snowstorm in the Pyrenees. Audrey Schulman, who lives in Barcelona, began to experience difficulty talking and moving after the freezing weather closed in during an ill-fated hiking trip into the mountains. Her condition deteriorated while waiting for emergency services to arrive, and by the time doctors were finally able to resuscitate her, she had been technically dead for an incredible 6 hours.
Wow.
Oof, that's amazing. Speaking to the BBC's Today program, she said she recalls nothing about her experience. It was much worse for my husband, she said. By the time I came around in hospital, I knew it was serious as my parents were there, but I didn't feel like I was at risk of dying. Whereas everyone else spent the last few days thinking there was a good chance that I wasn't coming back. The first few days were quite blurry. It was a lot of medication. According to her doctors, Edward Argudo, the extreme cold was ultimately responsible for making it possible to bring her back. A special machine had to be used to reoxygenate her blood, and it was only once her body temperature had risen again that she could be revived with a defibrillator. If her heart had stopped for 6 hours at room temperature, there's no way she would have made it. I had an understanding of what happened, but did not know how lucky I was to have survived it. She said, I like the life I had before. I had the accident, and I'm not going to be quitting my job or anything like that. I'm looking forward to embracing it because I know I'm lucky to have a second chance.
Wow.
6 hours done.
Mrs. Freeze. Wow.
Get to the chopper. That was Mr. Freeze, right? From
Yes.
Batman.
Yes.
Arnold.
Arnold.
That's pretty wild, dude. 6 hours is pretty intense for anybody to come back from.
You know, but you freeze a fly, you thaw it out, and it comes back to life.
Sure.
You know, so this just shows that it is possible for people to,
Well,
you know,
the real sad part, here's kind of the heartbreaker of all of that. And
it's
this
all the family standing around going, wondering.
No, it's all of the people that were recovered after falling into icy waters
Yeah.
that they just gave up on. They didn't know they could revive them.
Right.
And they've found out since then that you can revive a person from icy waters for an extended period
Right.
later once you warm them up. But how many people did they just go, oh, that's it, it's over? And, you know, that's the heartbreaker. Because,
Time
you know,
to bring back the graveyard shift.
yeah, exactly. The little bells. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I don't know. It's very, very sad, but
Yeah, that's, you know, but it's what were we supposed to do, you know?
right. No, I
Well,
understand.
they were dead for hours in this freezing water.
Yeah.
You know, but then again, you know, we look at this and go, well, you know, maybe next time they'll try, you know, or they'll see more light at the end of a tunnel.
Right. Well, there you go. I mean, you know, the clock runs out for all of us eventually anyway. And,
I wonder if
certain,
she had an NDE.
you know, she said she doesn't remember anything though. Because she said, I don't remember anything except
Right.
that suddenly I was waking up and my parents were here. So I knew it was serious. But, you know, thank God she came back. That's a wonderful story. That's incredible. But there you have it, folks. This has been a production of the Paranormal Portal News. There you go, folks. That is the news. Hope you enjoyed that.
The news.
The news. Good to see you all. And thank you all for coming in. We've got a bunch of you. Now, we're going to be moving to the first break of the night. If you're new to the show, just know that we are simulcasting not only on YouTube, but on TFR Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And as such, we have to take half-hour breaks. So for those of you on YouTube, you're going to see some music.
Brilliant vignettes.
These brilliant vignettes I put together with just some videos, paranormal videos and stuff that I threw together for you guys to hang out instead of listening to commercials. Those of you on the networks, of course, you'll hear the commercial feed, but we'll be right back. And as soon as we can be. I'm not sure how the show clock's going to line up tonight because last night...
Was it off again?
It was a little bit off.
That's why we need to redefine the second. That's it right there.
I redefined it by the time I was at the first break. I was like, okay, that's what it's going to be. And it was. It was pretty consistent all night. But there's the bell. I guess we're back on schedule. Looks like it's lined up good. So, folks, we're going to go to our first break here. Hang on. We'll be right back with a lot more of the Paranormal Portal. Don't go away.
From the dawn.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Paranormal Portal. And we appreciate you being patient during those breaks, but we are absolutely excited to get back here with you. What's that music from, Brent? Pazuzu. Every bit of music you hear on the Paranormal Portal is music I've written and played. So it's all my recordings. So it's during the break, those of you on YouTube heard, I don't know, I forget what I called it. It's
visitors.
Visitors. I called it visitors. Yeah, it's kind of a dubstep experiment that I was doing.
And it was pretty good.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, all the music you hear on the show is stuff that I've written, and it's not really as self-glorifying as it sounds. It's just when I was starting out on YouTube, I kept getting hammered by, oh, this is a song. I kept getting, notifications about using music. I was like, God, it frustrated me. So I was like, well, I'll just use my own. So that's why I did it. And it's just simply because I know I can use my own music. So nobody's going to hammer me about that. But thank you. Wow, I love that piece. Thank you. I appreciate that pass. I appreciate it a bunch. I'll have to get that out on the Bandcamp as well. The music that I do have available for download if you're interested, and this isn't, me trying to plug myself too much, but it's Brent Thomas.
It's your show.
BrentThomas.bandcamp.com if you want to check out songs that are available for download currently. I'll put some more up eventually, but I just put it up there because I had a lot of requests. So thank you to those.
Reminds me of the Silence of the Lambs. That's awesome.
Why?
I don't know. It's what it says.
Oh. Oh, I guess it could, yeah.
Pazuzu said that reminds me of the Silence of the Lambs.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. I get it now, but welcome back, everybody. This is the Paranormal Portal. We're into half hour number 2 now, and we've got a lot more ground to cover.
Android Purity knows the names of the songs.
Oh, really?
Says, and we don't mind. It's okay. But says, my girlfriend says she doesn't see Visitor's song. Only Emotional Buffet. Well, yeah, that's because it's not on there.
Yeah,
Visitors isn't on there yet.
Yeah, I haven't put Visitors up there.
But they must be looking at the Bandcamp already.
Right. So I gotta work out the ending of Visitors. There's something. I was just learning a software and I kind of screwed up the ending of it. So I got to figure out how to edit it and make it end appropriately because right now it's just a train wreck at the very end. So that's not available quite yet, but I'll work on it. Thank you. I appreciate your guys' interest.
Isn't it like 6 minutes long too?
I don't know. I don't remember. I thought it was only like 3 minutes and a half, but maybe it is. Maybe it's a little longer. Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to get through, folks, and we're gonna start hitting that now. But we just saw a picture of a possum that Mom sent. It was up on her porch back in Minnesota, and I gotta say, possums are probably really some of the I don't know, they got the worst reputation, but they are actually, I guess they're like immune to rabies. Oh. They eat wasps and ticks and snakes and stuff. Yep. Like they're good for getting rid of ticks, wood ticks. You want possums around. And I guess they're really very docile and tame.
Well, our friend Diana Orcutt, she has possums.
That's right.
And she just absolutely loves them. She says they're great.
Yeah, they are a neat little animal. And, so I think a lot of people see them and like, oh, it might be sick. They might have rabies. Well, essentially, they're basically immune to rabies and distemper. So they can't get sick like that. So if you ever see a possum, they're not sick. They're just not really that afraid. Yes. So don't think that you got to get a shovel and start hammering it or something because they can't get rabies. They're not genetically capable, which is really cool. Anyway, and distemper as well, I think. Like raccoons can get hit by distemper really bad.
Oh, yeah, they can.
Oh, yeah, they can. Let's get cruising here and get into some more paranormal goodness. And, wait, this wasn't one I wanted to go to. I want to go to a different one first, Don. Here it is.
Aaron says they can eat a pound of ticks in a day.
Yeah, I mean, thank God.
That's a lot of friggin' ticks.
That's a lot of ticks, and that's a good thing for them to eat because we don't want them. Yeah. We don't want them at all. So, yeah, don't go out of your way to hurt possums. They are doing everybody a big favor. All right. Sorry. Now is the time I'd have to cough. Hold on. There, I think I'm better.
I think we should hire Buzzacino for byline writing.
I know he does all these great hype lines. It's like, wow, really?
Yeah,
thank you.
That's awesome.
All right, so we're going to hit an article right now from a site called Factinate.com, and we've been kind of going through it through the last several shows. It's a really long list, so it's just something we're hitting here and there and going over these stories. The stories on here are brilliant. They really are really well done, and the stories are, I can't remember what the name of this article is, but I don't want to scroll way back up. These people had these experiences they just can't explain. But usually you can see in the URL what the hell the name of the article is, but it's not here. But anyway, we're on number 32. And if you want to know the name of the article, go back a show or two. That's kind of crappy, but apparently Factinate has a bunch of these articles, which I'm surprised at because there's nothing in the name Factinate to suggest it'd be a great site for paranormal stories, but they did a really good job on this one. So we're on number 32 right now, and this story is called Thrown Out Baby Shoes Never Worn. No, I read that one already. That's the one we read last, where people had found baby shoes in their wall, and when they were refurbishing done.
Okay.
And so they took the baby shoes and threw them out.
Oh, really?
And then all of a sudden their house was haunted. Remember what we talked about?
Yeah, we've talked about that several times.
How shoes are used as wards against evil and witches.
Because they stop to put on the shoes and they get confused to where they're supposed to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Where am I?
Where am I? What am I doing here? So, yeah, I mean, those are wards against evil. And so apparently when you throw them away, nothing good happens. So if you ever go into your walls, you find shoes, you throw them away, and you end up haunted, put them back. Get some more shoes. All right, so this one is 33, Retreat. It says, my 3-year-old daughter was going through the monster under the bed phase. It lasted for weeks, and it was really wearing on her mom and me. One night after mom tried to put her to bed, she tagged me. After 30 minutes, I grew pretty frustrated. In a last-ditch attempt, I promised my daughter that there weren't any monsters under her bed. Oh, she replied, I know, they're behind you. After that, I let her sleep with us for a week.
You know, that sounds like one of those create a spooky story with 4 words.
Yeah, that's true. And any of these could be just embellishments, and we don't know.
And
but
how old was the child? Was she 3? That's a lot of words to put together for a 3-year-old.
Yeah. Maybe a very precocious 3-year-old, but who knows? Where did my time go?
Well, if they redefine the second, we'll never know.
Well, we'll probably know. We'll have a better idea maybe then.
Well, maybe we'll find them there. Sorry.
10 years ago, I was returning home from a road trip with 2 friends. I received a phone call from my parents asking when we would be arriving. And I explained that we were about 25 minutes away. About a minute later, we came up around the bend, and it was a full moon, and we could see the reflection from a lake below us, and other than that, the road was completely empty. Suddenly, everything went completely dark in the car. Oops. No lights from the dash or gauges or headlights on the road. The music also stopped and restarted at the beginning of the CD that we were listening to. There was now a vehicle pulled over by the police about a quarter mile in front of us that hadn't been there a split second before. I assumed I had just dozed off for a second as it was late. I thought it was still quite peculiar, though. But after a minute, the driver of the car turned the music all the way down and said, "Did that just happen to anyone else?" And the other passenger in the back seat sat forward and exclaimed, "I thought I just fell asleep." Well, we hadn't realized that the clock in the car was reading an hour later than it just had a minute before. To keep ourselves from freaking out, we decided that the car had possibly had a momentary electrical failure, and resets the clock at an odd time. It turned off the dash lights, headlights, and gauges, and restarted the CD player. But when we arrived home 25 minutes later, we were an hour late. I'm missing an hour of my life, and to this day, I have no idea how it happened.
I have an idea.
Regression hypnosis?
Well, that'd be a way to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say it was aliens, but, it was aliens.
It was Georgie. That's definitely a Georgie Tsoukalos right there. I mean, what else is there? Either you all had a brilliantly timed stroke, or you were abducted. You're abducted. At that point, you're abducted. Old habits die hard is the next one.
Thank you, Karen.
Oh, thank you, Karen. What did Karen do?
Karen super chatted us. It's $5.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Yeah. Woo!
Well done. Well done.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the love. I had a cat that would come and lie down next to my back when I was sleeping on my side, and he did this every morning after he ate breakfast. My girlfriend told him it was his job, after I had been through a bout of depression. After he died, I could feel the pressure of his body for about a week. Oh, that's sweet. And you know, honestly, that's a kind of pattern that is repeated so many times for other people, and some, you know, goes on for years. For instance, my mom, my mom has quite a bit of experience with pet spirits, as it turns out. She had a Maltese named Tucker, and Tucker had this real peculiar habit. He would sleep with my mom, and she had a big bed, and he would get on the bed and he would do this. He'd do this marching around, you know, like he's kind of like when a dog's going to poop, except this is how he went to sleep. Like he'd march around and sniff and look, and then he'd find one spot and just boom, that'd be it. He'd be done. Like it was just like this magical discernment that find the good spot, and it would be his pattern every night. And of course, unfortunately, Tucker passed away. He got some kind of illness and didn't make it. And my mom said that she still, from time to time, will be laying in bed and feel those footprints, those footsteps going around and around, and ending with a little thud. It's like he did in his life. And I think that's really beautiful. I love those stories. I think they're very sweet. And I really believe these pets that are very much a part of our hearts. I mean, they're not just animals that we're near and comfortable with. They are a part of us, and, you know, just like part of the family. And I think they stay with us. I really do. I think maybe they become guardian spirits or just companions in a spiritual sense, and they wait. They wait for our time to come, and then we just all cross together. I think
that would be cool.
That would be cool, yeah. But anyway, cool story.
Okay, shout out to Viva V.
Viva V.
Apparently Don likes cheese. But $5 is like a half a block of cheese. But thank you.
Oh, nice.
I can talk cheese. That's good.
As long as you don't smell like cheese, it's okay, I think. All right. And Don does not smell like cheese. He smells like sage marinade.
Black pepper.
So Don't Lose Your Head is the next one. This is number 36. Not that I go around smelling Don, but I mean, he is right here next to me. So it says, Don't Lose Your Head. I think I was 8 years old. My mom and sister were fishing off a dock, and I was a couple hundred yards south next to the water, leaning against a tree when I opened a fish bait bottle, and it spilled. As I'm picking up the bait, right next to me in the water, a man's head just rises out of the water, green and pale.
Wow.
It looked at me and slowly sank back into the water. Well, I began crying and never saw the head come back up. It was not wearing any kind of rebreather, and my sister ran over and asked me what had happened. I'm 14 now, and every time I try to describe or explain the story, they never believe me and say that I was dreaming.
Wow.
I can still remember that face, but I wasn't scared the first time I saw it.
The first time?
I was pretty shocked. But that face was terrifying, like 90s Pennywise terrifying.
Wow.
These days, I try and play it off as something paranormal or spiritual, but if that was some sort of living creature, then this world is a scary place.
You think?
That could be a cryptid of some kind.
But she says scared the first time I saw it.
Yeah, she said she wasn't.
Yeah.
She said she cried. She said it rises out of the water, green and pale, looked at me and slowly sank back. I began crying and never saw the head come back up.
Right, but later she says the first time I saw it. So
Yeah.
it implies there was a second time.
Oh, that's true. I didn't put that together.
Yeah. Apparently Viva says here's another $5 for the other half block of cheese. Give her the clap.
I like prime rib.
There's this really good place right down the road called the Hydra,
Yeah.
and they have this like 20-ounce piece of prime rib,
Oof.
and it's like $36 for the full dinner. So, yeah. Sorry.
Don's floating numbers now. There you go, folks. All right. At number 37 is Secret Admirer. I have very vivid memories of seeing a black shadowy figure moving around in an apartment I lived in when I was little. I always screamed for my mom, and she tried telling me it was just a shadow of someone in the apartment, but it wasn't. I watched it from my bedroom walk across the wall from the living room to my parents' room. It even stopped and turned to look at me once.
Ooh.
Oh, that's creepy. That's like a Spider-Man shadow.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yikes. All right, this is number 38. Drive safe. About 12 years ago, I was driving a friend home to her house in the middle of the woods and took a turn kind of fast and almost lost control. At the same time, we both saw a bright flash come off the ground. Definitely not lightning. Couldn't explain it. Another 2 friends from the area have seen a green orb which shot off as if it was afraid it had been noticed. They both never spoke of it until a few years later for the fear of sounding crazy. I don't know.
It's just an orb.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see anything. I don't see any reason why people would say you're crazy if you saw an orb and weren't sure what it was and you mentioned it. It's like, well, there was this thing. And then let them imagine what they imagine.
Well, I got to say, though, it's a different world when you're young for sure because, man, people are cruel.
That's true.
They can be cruel as adults, too, but I think less commonly so. Most people will just listen and go, oh, really? Yeah. But younger age, man, people are brutal. Okay, orb boy.
Hey, Orby.
I got an orb for you right here. All right, right place, right time. Right time, right place. I was 17 and struggling with depression, so I went to the kitchen. Good place. Oh, grabbed a knife and was going to attempt suicide. Oh. As I was contemplating, there was a power surge, which rarely happened at my house. The microwave and stove clocks were blinking, so I definitely didn't imagine it. I texted my mom, who was in her bedroom, and asked if there was a power surge, and she said that she had been watching TV, and the power never went out in her room. So I put the knife down and watched TV instead. Good for you.
Okay.
Excellent choice. Yeah, that's weird. So is it an intervention? Sure, it sounds like it. I don't know if it's, what intervened, but somebody was watching and went, no. And I'm glad it worked. That's cool. So the next story in our list tonight is The Man Who Wasn't There. Sounds like a good one. My grandfather was in the Navy in World War II in the Pacific, and he occasionally, when in a particular mood, whiskey, would tell a story of how they were getting attacked, and he was trying to get to the other side of the boat. He reaches a doorway to the deck, opens it, and just as he's about to step out, he hears someone shout his name behind. He stops, begins to turn around, and an explosion goes off just outside of the door. He looks behind to thank whoever called his name, but no one was there. That shook him up more than the bombs. Wow, just imagine that. So that's another intervention. It's like, nope, not your time. Thank goodness. Wow. Okay, so here we go. This is number 41, Midwest Charm. So a little one-sentence story. So let's see. Alone with my 4-year-old Midwestern daughter, when she randomly whispers, Ope, she's here, while staring out a dark window. Oh, jeez. Who's here?
Well,
Who? I don't know. The kid's seeing something.
Yeah, so, that means, Ope means, probably means grandma, because Opa means grandpa.
Sure.
So.
Stands to reason, yeah. Could very well be.
Or it could just be, an Americanized version of it.
Right. Number 42.
42, the answer to universe and everything.
Yeah, this is the answer to everything, so hopefully it's a good story. Spooky is only appropriate word here. I didn't believe in ghosts until I spent the night at my aunt's. So it was a nighttime, and I was staying in the youngest cousin's room since he had been sleeping in his sister's room for the past couple of weeks. No real explanation. That's a setup right there. Just that he doesn't want to be alone at night. I challenged my aunt on this since usually at his age, 9, boys typically want to sleep alone to prove that they're big boys now. And she said, he's 9, she's 10, it's still fine. So here I am lying in an uncomfortable bed trying to sleep. When I look towards the bedroom door, where the room nightlight slowly glows behind a dark figure. Softly glows behind a dark figure. Wow. Okay, I react like any normal adult seeing a stranger in the child's relative's room. I holler at the figure and try to dramatically leap at the figure, only to flop to the ground from my legs being tangled in the bed sheets. When I looked back up, the figure's gone. The bedroom door is open, but I don't hear any doors slamming, so the person must still be in the house. I run to the master bedroom door and start pounding on it, calling for my aunt to wake up because there's someone in her house, and she blearily opens the door, asks me what's going on, so I tell her what happened, and she gives me an exasperated look, takes me into the kitchen, and pours me some liquor in a too large glass. Listen, no one was in the room. What? I know what you saw because I've seen it too. There was no one there. Then what did I see? Hallucination? I don't know, but we're just hoping it'll go away.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. No.
give her like a big sport tumbler full of whiskey.
Yeah, it's like,
Send her back to bed.
Here, this will put you to sleep. You'll never notice it again.
You'll never.
By the
look
way,
up.
I've had 4 of them.
Yeah, it's how I cope. Wow.
Wow, yeah.
We're just hoping it'll go away. All right, number 43, singing spirits. I was with my sister, her husband, and their 2-year-old daughter, and we were talking about loved ones that had recently passed. My father had died sometime recently. My brother-in-law went and grabbed a picture of his mother who had died in a car crash when he was a kid to show me. And when my niece saw the picture, though, she started laughing. We asked her what was so funny, and then she looked at us and said, "That's my special friend who sings to me." I still shiver a bit thinking about it.
Wow.
Well, I think that's beautiful, though, right?
That's cool.
I think that's wonderful. I mean, we often think, oh, if only so-and-so could have seen their grandchild or, some, and here's an opportunity where they're seeing their grandchild just fine. Mm-hmm. I think that's wonderful. That's beautiful.
The grandchild seeing them is fine too.
Yeah, exactly.
If she recognized her from a picture.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, they have this relationship. It's not, the barrier was never given with death.
Right.
They just transcended. That's awesome. Trouble down under. My kid's Catholic school is over 100 years old, and there's a basement under the gym that's used for storage. Mm-hmm. Well, I was subbing once, and during recess, one of the kickballs rolled down the stairs. A little girl was standing at the top of the stairs yelling, "Just throw it up to me." I went over and asked who she was talking to, and she replied, "That big man at the bottom of the stairs." I went down, and there was nobody there, and there was no other way in, and hardly anyone ever went down there. So I asked some of the other kids if they have seen the big man before, and they said, yeah, but sister told us not to talk to him. I asked them to describe this sister, and they described a nun, and there haven't been nuns in this school in 40 years.
Wow.
so
you got
a couple of them cooking.
You got a couple cooking there. You got one down in the basement, the big guy, which is probably like Freddy Krueger-ish.
Right.
And then you got a nun. Oh, Freddy Krueger's mother was a nun. Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, that is funny.
Wow. Oh, connections.
Oh, connections. Well, number 45 is apocalyptic visions. So, and then we're going to probably, I think we'll get through this one more. It says, my niece drew a picture of a man in her room that she kept telling her parents about. He had 2 different colored eyes, and one was gray. And when asked why it was gray, she responded, because he can see the storm coming.
Huh.
Wow.
That's interesting.
I don't know what that means. She's seeing Odin or something?
Oh, jeez.
What's going on there?
Wow.
2 places at once. Is this one? Can I get through? Yeah, I think I can. Minute 59 says, my brother Chris and I have a much younger brother named James, who was 5 at the time the story happened. We just moved into an older house, and we were deciding who would get which bedroom. James's new room was directly above the living room with the staircase, and James went up to discover his new room, and Chris and I took a short walk around the neighborhood. When we got back, my mom said she's going to get pizza for dinner and leaves, and she took a fairly long time, which is normal for her. I think she really enjoys the small breaks she gets when she can leave the house without James. And I never object to babysitting. Besides, James is pretty occupied with his new room. Chris and I are just talking in the living room, and James is super excited about his new bedroom. We hear him running and stomping around upstairs, opening and closing doors. Sometimes he slams the doors pretty hard, but whatever, he's a kid. I assume he fell asleep since the noises stopped eventually. I hear Mom's car pull up. I get up to meet her in the kitchen. My mom comes in carrying soda. James follows directly behind her, carrying the food, yelling, "Pizza time!" She had taken him with her to get dinner.
Oh.
And Chris and I just looked at each other, taking too long to comprehend what was happening. I lived in that house for 4 years, and that was the only time something really freaked me out about it. Wow.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yeah, pizza time is right.
Wow.
That's pretty powerful, though, right? So if they heard all that stuff, something else was cooking there, folks. But listen, we're going to go to our hour break.
Oh, really? Wow.
We're going to go do the hour
There it
break.
is. Yep.
So, again, we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. We got 1 full hour to go, so don't go away.
Pieces.
Lots more coming here on the portal. So we'll meet you back here in a couple minutes. Until then.
Everybody likes to play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. But I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I am finished with my silence. I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness. Just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise. You're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity. Just make sure that you're well fed. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken
Habitual dream state, a nightmare from which they cannot wake. I can't see you, Mommy. Where are you? I've never sensed anything like it. Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 is now upon us here. Here in the portal, we're getting into hour number 2. We've already had 1 full hour of fun. And now, on to number 2. On to number 2. Number 2. It's time for number 2, Don.
I just got back. Thank you.
Well, good. Everything moving okay?
Yeah, the eyes are blue again.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good break. Thank you so much for sticking with us as we cook through the night, and we got a lot more paranormal fun and goodness for you. But it's how we roll here in the portal.
Yes.
Isn't it? Isn't that right, Don?
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is that how we roll?
We roll, that's for sure.
Roll. The shape helps.
I've always been told round is the shape.
That's what I heard, too. I heard that one. I said that to a guy. The first time I ever heard that, I'm like, yeah, man, I've been working out. He goes, yeah, I can tell. I said, yeah, I'm really trying to get in shape. He goes, well, round is the shape.
Round is the shape.
I thought that was the most hilarious thing I ever heard. Back then. That was years and years ago. But now it's not so funny anymore.
No, well, well, now we realize it's true. What can I say?
Well, there you go. So we are moving through a list from factinate.com. And let me just look and see what this is called. I'll just remember that we're on number 47.
47.
And this list is called Bone-Chilling Moments We'll Never Be Able to Explain.
There you go.
Let me put it on the screen here. Bone-chilling moments we'll never be able to explain. This is factinate.com, and we're on number 47.
47.
47 done. What the hell just happened? Where am I? 27. We got a ways to go here.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are cooking this list, aren't you?
Yeah, but it's a long list. I'm telling you, I could be reading this for months.
Oh, don't say that.
I mean, obviously. The nice thing, though, is that it's a variety of stories. So it's not just one kind of phenomena.
Oh, okay. Okay.
47, right?
Yep.
I said. I'm getting there. 42. This is why I don't move things too often. 44. 45. 46. 47.
47.
Doing the count. So there we go, folks. This is number 47 of our list is from called Haunted House. All right. Sorry. I cracked myself up. I had a lot of weird things happen at my parents' house growing up, but I still consider myself skeptical of anything paranormal. The master bedroom has a walk-in closet where the light would consistently come on by itself, especially when I was home alone. The dogs were also weirdly obsessed with the closet, and one would sit there for hours, and the other would always stand up and growl and bark. Every few years, I moved out. Even after years after I moved out, my mom still has this happen on the regular. The freakiest time was when I was 15 and my parents were out for the evening at a work party. I was in my room playing computer games and listening to music, and suddenly I got a really uncomfortable feeling like someone was behind me. Ooh, I hate that one. I turned around and there was a black shadowy figure in the middle of my room.
Wow.
God, do you think they put that ad enough in there, or maybe they could slice it in there a few more times? Jeez. As soon as I saw it, it moved towards me, and I could literally feel it move through me.
Oh, I've had that happen.
I know you have. It's exactly what I thought of, too. I noped the hell out of the house and sat outside until my parents came home. The most recent time was after I moved out and was at my parents' to do some laundry. And as I was loading the dryer, I clearly saw somebody walk by the laundry room door and into the furnace room.
Whoa.
Oof.
You know who else lived in a furnace room?
Freddie?
Freddie.
Okay, since we're on the subject. I assumed it was my dad, but it turned out that they were both upstairs at the time. My mom is also a complete skeptic, but she almost wanted to come stay with me one time because she swears she saw a dark figure crawl across the kitchen floor.
Wow.
Yeah, that's all kinds of creepy.
That's not good.
She also said that she's seen the chandelier swinging one time during the night. I've never had anything weird happen to me anywhere else but in that house. So it's kind of freaky, and I'm not really sure what to think.
Uh-huh.
You know, they have got to do that for shock value. I mean, because you wouldn't think they'd have to crawl across the floor, but they choose to.
But they choose to.
They choose to. And it's got to be just to freak people out.
That is creepy.
I
That
mean,
is creepy.
of all the things you don't want to see, that's one of them. Yeah. I mean, that's like every horror movie, like The Ring, the thing crawling up the stairs and stuff. It's like, oh, no, that's just not the way this should look. It's bad enough when they're walking upright, but when they're prowling and creeping, that's all kinds of weird.
Yeah, I hate it when she came crawling through the TV. I was like,
yeah, that's not what you want out of a TV.
That's bad.
That's a whole different kind of reality.
Wow.
So number 48 is Mama's Boy tonight. I'm a mama's boy. I've always been kind of a mama's boy. When my oldest son was about 3 years old, he said, "Mommy, I like you better than my fake mommy."
Oh, boy.
Naturally asked, "Who's your fake mommy?" He replied, you can't see her, but she tucks me in after you do." Okay.
Oh. That's like Coraline.
You got to wonder, is she kind of brisk and mean about it, or why does the kid not like that one as well?
Well, maybe it's because his real mommy feeds him.
Yeah.
The other one just tucks me and go to sleep, you little...
Yeah, quiet down. I'm busy here. It's my time.
Go to sleep.
I would have immediately moved to a hotel as the next one, number 49. Said I stayed with a friend for a couple of months past divorce.
Post-divorce.
Yeah, either way. They both mean after divorce, I think. So, I've had an old farmhouse, and I bunked in the top floor room. He had an old farmhouse, and I bunked in the top floor room. And one night, as I had just gone to bed, I heard creaking on the floor just in front of my bed. Well, after a couple of seconds, I rolled over and just ignored it. After a few minutes, I hear it again. I roll over and sit up, and I see what looks like a blur-mist, perhaps. Who knows? Pass by the end of the bed. It says, at this point, I'm more confused than anything. And suddenly I hear what sounds like light footsteps on the stairs, about 7 in total. A small creak, possibly the door, opening to the downstairs, and then the dogs go ballistic. Well, I run downstairs, and now we're all awake. The dogs are focused on the stairway and bark like mad for about 3 minutes. No real explanation, but after telling my buddy and his wife what I heard, we were all creeped out for a few days. I stayed there for a few weeks, and nothing else ever happened.
Congratulations. Wow.
Well, it's all that adjustment period, I think.
Yes.
Spirit has to get used to somebody being in that loft. Hospitals are so haunted. I agree. Hospitals are very spiritually active places. On my first nursing job, I would work in a unit that served as an overflow, and that unit would close if the census was low, less patients in the hospital. And the hospital was only a few years old, but there were strange things happening, like the TV turning on its own in a room where one patient died, and patients' doors closing. And I always joked that sundowning in a hospital might as well be someone being possessed. What the hell does that mean, sundowning in a hospital? Don, you got anything?
The only thing I could think of is like
The end of
late
life?
shift. Oh,
okay.
Sundowning in a hospital. Yeah, it could be like the twilight.
Okay.
Twilight time.
Two-
For the dying.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, whatever that means, folks, and I'm sorry, I just don't understand that vernacular. 2 of our coworkers had the bright idea of going upstairs to that unit, turning on phone video and asking aloud for the spirits to show themselves.
Wow.
Oh, no. I didn't join them since I was busy, but to their disappointment, nothing came of it. And even the possessed TV did not turn on. But later, when they reviewed the video, They turned up the volume of their phone and they started to hear audible whispers, and that freaked them out. Not my story, but from a veteran coworker. She got consent from the family for a patient for a surgery who was paranoid. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I know I am. You bring me there, I die. The patient didn't have any significant medical problems, no red flags, with anesthesia history, and the surgery was a simple laparoscopic gallbladder removal. The dude died on the table. Wow. So
Premonition.
or is that speaking your reality?
Ah, good point. Yeah, I talk about that all the time, don't I?
Yeah.
Huh.
So what do you think? Is it he programmed himself that if this happens, I'm going to die? Possible?
Yes.
I think so too.
Thanks, Viva.
What happened now?
Prime rib dinner for Sizzlers.
Woo!
Bon appetit, $24.99.
Daddy's going to be putting his meat on. That didn't sound good at all.
No. No.
So daddy getting his meat on is not a good thing. I'm sorry. I deeply and seriously apologize for that choice of words.
You know, of all the things I say, sometimes you're the one who goes way out there.
I know, but
I can say some doozies, but you sometimes just taught me.
The difference is that I honestly don't mean it that way.
Yeah, I know.
It just comes out all sideways and screwed
point
up.
It out to you.
You've got to bring.
Wow.
So I apologize to anybody I might have offended with that. I kind of offended myself for what it's worth.
Pazuzu says, "Oh dear, Brent. First Dawn, now you." Yes, actually,
It's an illness. It's spreading. I swear to God.
it's like a virus.
Wow.
Quick, quarantine. And the mystery deepens.
It's scary up in here. So I will no longer say things like that.
No, yes, you will. You certainly will. I'll just have to catch you out on it.
There's a highlight reel for you, Don.
We've got to go through some of these old episodes and pull out all these little things,
dumb
like
things.
your sausage loving comments.
Oh my God. Jeez. I like sausage. Okay, it's not phallic. It's a tube of meat. It's a tube of meat, Don.
You're not making it any better.
It's a tube of meat. You put it on a bun and you eat it.
He likes his tube meat in a bun.
Oh no. Okay. Let's move along before this goes all the way south. That's already bad enough. As creepy as it gets is number 51.
Oh no, it gets worse.
Oh
wow.
I stayed home from school one day because I was sick. I went to the kitchen to make a sandwich and I heard a sound coming from the living room. I go to see what it was, and there's a little toy car rolling from the fancy living room to the room I was previously sitting in. And then it rolled around the coffee table and crashed into the spot I was sitting at. Yikes. That's
Traffic
spooky.
accident waiting to happen.
Also, my brother had passed away 3 months prior to this. And after it happened, I told my mom, and she said the same thing happened to her, too. So I'm sure it was related to him dying. Still very bizarre. Yeah, that's kind of sweet, but kind of
It's a
heartbreak. Yeah.
It's a bittersweet.
Wow.
Yep.
This one is Without a Trace. A while back, I was in New York City with some friends, and we noticed this weird story on a newspaper, maybe the Times, about a girl who had fallen from on high in Union Square, possibly off a building. The girl got up, apparently unharmed, and ran off into the crowd of onlookers.
What?
Oh, my God. Should see if we can find that. The police looked into this but didn't have much luck until an anonymous envelope containing the picture of this girl was delivered to them. The picture was included in the newspaper story, and we thought this was pretty interesting. So the minute we got home, we Googled the story and got nothing. We'd never seen any articles on this girl anywhere. Everybody we've asked about the story, including people who live or work around Union Square, claims they never heard anything about it. This is about 3 or 4 years ago, and we found nothing. I don't know, but man, if there's people like that running around, superheroes are here.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, and what was I going to say?
I don't know.
This is what I was going to say. Maybe it was in a different reality.
Could be a Mandela thing, right?
Yeah. Or, a time shift.
Right.
A timeline shift. Yeah.
what was that? The Matt Damon movie, The Adjustment Bureau. Maybe they moved in and adjusted it.
Oh, yeah.
One of those things like, oh, that's not supposed to be known. Cover that up.
Woman hit by patio furniture blown off Manhattan balcony.
Oh,
That's not the one I want. I'll see death from
no. So it says, I live in Texas and still haven't been able to make it to New York City Public Library to look through old newspapers. I will when I finally make it back. Yeah, that's a cool story. If there's anything to that, that's powerful. Very powerful. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Lots of strangeness going on in the world, folks. And what if it is like, the whole Men in Black thing, aliens disguised as us, and
Right.
maybe they can just do that.
Strange things.
The world's full of 'em.
Days Indeed.
It's our bread and butter, Don.
Mighty peculiar, mama.
So not cool is number 53. I had a music teacher who took his 4-year-old daughter to an old theater in Alaska. She started crying immediately when she walked in, so he took her outside. She stopped crying. He took her back in, and she started crying again, so he took her outside again, and he asked her why she was crying, and she said, that's where the people with no eyes watch you.
Oh, my.
Oh.
That's definitely a Coraline story.
That's a what?
Coraline.
Coraline. Oh, yeah. Yep. Coraline. Okay.
Coraline.
I don't know. I was... Sorry, big cough. That was a good one, though. That was a great cough.
No eyes watch you. So, yeah, yeah.
Well, a lot of times spiritual manifestations appear with no eyes, or black holes where eyes should be. So,
Yeah, but how do you know they're watching you?
well, if they're facing you,
Somebody's watching me.
that could be, Michael. All right, side sleeping for safety. That sounds
What?
side sleeping for safety. My grandfather was in the Royal Navy for a few decades at the end of World War II. He was helping ship Japanese prisoners of war back to the West, and many of them were suffering from serious trauma and had completely lost their grasp of reality. He was asleep in his bunk. Often they were stacked with 3 or more levels, and the guy below him had lost it and drove a knife up through his mattress. Luckily, my granddad was asleep on his side, and the knife missed him by millimeters.
Wow.
He said those months at sea were the hardest of his entire naval life.
Wow.
Wow, how scary is that? Just that knife could have went right into him.
Yep.
Oh,
Crazy.
sorry, folks. All kinds of frog going on. Ribbit. I got to continue to cough. Is there something you can read for a minute?
Actually, I found this thing.
Please.
And so, contact with Nordic extraterrestrial beings in USAF uniform whose UFO was recorded. JP, an anonymous source who had provided hundreds of photos of different types of craft belonging to a classified U.S. Air Force space program, claims to have encountered a human-looking Nordic extraterrestrial on May 24th. Now, just to let you know, this was dated March 27, 2021. So this was just today.
Wow.
On May 24th. He believes the Nordics was dressed in a U.S. Air Force uniform and invited him to fly in a saucer-shaped craft that had landed in a secluded wooded area of Orlando, Florida. JP turned down the offer but photographed the spaceship after it had departed, attached below. So there's a picture.
Oh, cool.
His recollection of the conversation with the Nordics reveals that they are directly cooperating with the Air Force and adhering to the terms of an agreement on their communication with the general public. The transcript of my Skype conversation with JP is included below, along with some commentary I've produced. I've produced a page with other articles and videos that... Okay, now he's just blowing in the wind. The debate began at 10:32 a.m. Eastern Time. I've removed the grammar... So this is actually the whole thing.
Wow.
It was Michael Sala. Oh, okay. This is from Michael Sala.
I don't know that name.
So remember way back when, like the first time I was on the portal? So that was April of 2017. April 1st of 2017, we talked about the Eisenhower Accords.
Yes, I remember that.
Michael Salla also did some investigation into that disappearance of Dwight Eisenhower.
Oh, okay. When he took off. And,
Yeah, supposedly he had a dental emergency on the golf course,
Sure.
and he disappeared for like 3 days.
Ooh.
But anyhow, that was Michael Salla. Michael Salla's written scads. I mean, he's, apparently he's not as famous not as well known to you as, say, Stanton Friedman, but they were the same time. They're the same time frame. So very, very, they were peers. So, but I'm not going to read this whole thing because that's going to be, but you know what? I'm going to grab this.
Yeah, definitely bookmark it.
And I'm going to copy and paste this into
The chats.
the chat here, and I will send it to you so you can post that because that is interesting.
Into the TFR chat.
Into the TFR chat.
Yeah, that would be a fascinating
So
read.
yeah, definitely. But it's kind of long, so I'm not going to go into it. But here's the problem with that kind of conversation, though. It's a conversation, and it can get, you can lose stuff in translation.
Right.
So you should read it for yourself. It's really interesting. All right, let me get to, let's see, Mr. Brent Thomas. There he is.
We'll keep posting it out.
And paste that there. There you go. If you can paste that for our TFR crowd, that would be cool.
I can.
That's kind of awesome, though.
Holy-
Yeah, and Michael Salla. Yeah, look him up.
God, that's a hell of a link.
It is. It's just under 200 characters. Whew.
All right, I'm putting it in the TFR for all of you over there. If you happen to be there, at least for BAM and Free Energy. That's who's over there. But
Yeah, Laura Eisenhower, his great granddaughter, has a YouTube channel. Yes, you're right, Brooks. Yep. You wanna get some information. You want to hear some interesting stuff. Listen to her, and she's got some interesting stuff.
absolutely.
Gold.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're gonna on the next segment after the break, we're gonna dive into the truck driving stories and close out the show with
I
those.
like
So
truck driving stories.
yeah, those are
nice.
good. Those are really cool. Some of them are just, weird close call kind of stuff, but others are absolutely bizarre. There, I think that was my last cough. I think I'm all cleared up now, Don.
Oh, thank goodness.
But number 55 on our list here, Meet Me in the Meadow. When I was about 4, one night my mom woke up to the sound of our front door opening and closing. She grabs a knife and goes out to investigate, and she sees me walking barefoot out to the logging road. She then runs outside and grabs me and asks me what I think I'm doing. I told her, I have to go visit my friends. My mom asked, what friends? And I said, my new friend. They told me to meet them in the meadow. I ended up explaining to my mom that my new friends can talk to me without being near me,
Wow.
that they don't wear clothes, and they want to take me on a trip.
I bet.
Since this happened, I've learned that there have been several cases of mutilated cattle over the years, and if you ask the right questions to the right people, loads of stories of lights in the sky and strange figures, and what have you.
Wow.
My grandpa refused to ever talk about the night, and all I know is that the cattle were mutilated. My grandpa cried if you brought it up, and that my grandma cried if you brought it up, and my grandpa would not let anyone talk about it in his presence. Since then, I've seen some pretty strange stuff out at the farm, and I do remember needing to meet my friends in the meadow.
Wow.
How about that?
That's like those stories of kids that wake up in the middle of the night and go wandering.
Yeah, like Close
outside.
Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the little kid opening the door. It's like, oh, don't open the door. Very, very
Isn't that
strange.
the picture of it right there?
No, well, no, that's
Oh,
a
similar
picture.
to it. Yeah, a picture. Yes.
That's just a stock image. But the next one is silhouettes silhouettes on the shade. Just me and my daughter alone in the house one night, and she pointed to the top corner of her room and said, "What is that man's name?"
Oh.
She got very upset at me when I told her that there was no one there. After she repeatedly asked me that question, needless to say, all the lights stayed on that night. My husband's theory after I told him the story is that from where my daughter was standing, the vents in the window kind of look like a face if you kind of squint at it and look at from the corner of your eye. Another time before my daughter could speak, she was looking over my shoulder at the doorway, and then she got really excited and was waving at someone. Well, I thought it was my husband coming home from work, and I turned around, but no one was there. Well, could be. Could be just some weird blinds or something, but could be you've got some company. You might just have some company. So, I don't know, Don, but we are cooking towards the last break of the night.
Really, already?
Already, we've got just seconds before the bell. And 57 of you, I just want to take a moment and say, make sure if you're new to the show, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, ringing the bell, we'd love to make you part of the Paranormal Portal family. And we broadcast live on YouTube every week from Wednesday through Sunday nights and 7 p.m. Pacific time right here on the YouTube channel, as well as TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. We're going to go to our last break, just a couple minutes here, and we'll be right back. So don't go away, and we'll get into some trucker stories from over the long roads. Don't go away. I said don't go away.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon by Christine. Great.
right, folks, this is the last segment of the show. We've cooked through an hour and a half, and we've got about 25 minutes left of the portal. That's how fast it rolls, Don.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
We are redefining the second.
Yeah, we can make them last, can't we?
Yeah.
We can
Some
stretch
nights
them
it's
out.
like, oh my God, it's still on.
We're still at it.
Oh gosh.
Nah, I think we're doing good.
Yeah.
We're doing good. We're going to move on to some truck stories, truck driver stories. And these are stories from a site called Money Made, another site you'd never expect there to be these kind of stories, but they've got a colossal list. And the list is called Truckers' Creepiest Moments on the Road.
So the tabs up top: home, investing, make money, save money, careers, and financial tips.
Yeah.
Where exactly do you find trucker stories in those
I don't know.
headings?
I don't know, but well, it looks like they're farming a lot of advertising is what it is. Much like Factinate, which won't open on Brave.
Oh.
Thank God this one does.
Oh.
So I think Factinate is farming a lot of ad revenue by those kind of stories. And that's what we're looking at here. And I'll put it on screen for all of you out there. And there you have it. So this is tonight's list. We are on number 65. But you'll see there's a mark for advertising. There's a mark for advertising. Like every paragraph is divided into an ad. So it's really kind of a cash grab. But I'm good with it as long as they have
money
good
made.
material. Yeah, yeah, that's right. It's the name of the site. Can see how they're doing it, folks. Here it is. Deal with the Devil is number 65.
Ooh.
My friend told me a story about riding with his father in his truck as a kid. They were in the middle of nowhere, and they were keeping up on they were coming up. Oh, no, wait. Yeah. I read this one. This one. So what it was is it was an ambush. I'm not sure where this story took place, but basically, I'll just read it again, whatever.
Okay, because I don't remember.
Oh, well, you weren't here when I read it last night. So they were in the middle of nowhere, and they were coming up on a person lying in the road with no one else around. No cars, etc. His dad blew the horn. They didn't move, so he blew it again. And as he got closer, they still didn't move. So he did something horrific. He told my friend to put his head down and cover up his eyes.
Ooh.
And then he ran the person over. And when they looked back, a bunch of people who were previously hiding and were running out of the woods, basically his dad had suspected it was a setup for something and wasn't chancing it with his child in the car. I think about that story all the time.
Yeah.
So that's one of those tough calls, right? So obviously you don't ever want to hurt somebody, but if you've heard stories of people setting up road ambushes and murdering people,
Right.
stealing the loads,
Right.
and I don't know where this happened, but what a horrendous situation and what a terrible choice to have to make. But if it's your kid or somebody trying to kill you, the choice is pretty clear, I think. And I don't mean to sound like a
I don't know, man.
whoa.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you do?
Right. That's
I mean,
just it. Yeah.
You stop because there's a person in the middle of the road and you get shot and your kid gets shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever, kidnapped.
Right.
Whatever.
Or trafficked or something else horrible.
Gosh, I wasn't going to go there, but okay.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
kind of a real thing. Here's number 66, a higher calling. I was in the middle of absolutely nowhere in Texas and getting tired. And there was absolutely no lights anywhere around me but the stars. And I guess I kind of messed up a turn at one of those forks in the road because out of nowhere, a calm voice came in quite loud over the CB. Driver, looks like it's time for you to pull over and grab some sleep. So I did. I'm not ignoring invisible CB Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it's not necessarily paranormal. Maybe just somebody watched and went, hey, you need to get some rest, dude. Number 67, a 14-ton alarm clock.
Wow.
I used to drive buses, and I did what we called the first sign-on shifts that started between 3 and 4 in the morning. And one morning, with a workmate at the depot, we go out in the yard and start up our buses. I hear him scream, and then I see him come bolting out of his bus. This scared the heck out of me, so of course I did, but I tentatively went over to investigate. Turns out that there was a homeless man asleep on the bus, and when he started the bus, it woke him up. The homeless guy did not say a word and just walked down the bus to get out, scaring the heck out of my coworker when he was right behind him. We used to have a good laugh about it after the fact, but At one time, it was scary as heck to experience.
Yeah.
I thought someone was trying to kill him at first.
Wow. Just didn't say anything. Just got up and walked to the front of the bus.
Hey, can I get out?
Hey, man.
Is this my stop? Oh, number 68.
Is the second lake.
Yeah, a game of chicken. One night I was hauling sulfuric acid from the rail siding to the mine site, and normally I do 3 loads a shift, so it was pretty full on. And I'm on my first load of the night, and I get overtaken by a car full of hooligans. Now, country Australians will recognize the type. No windows because they're all smashed. Only one headlight, no taillights, and a stream of empty cans falling out. Well, I drive a few more kilometers down the road, and they're all stopped off the side of the road trying to flag me down, and I think, sure, it turned out to be a huge mistake. Mm-hmm. As I pull up to the car, someone leans out and says, "Hey, brother, we got no petrol. Can you give us some?" "Well, actually, no, I run on diesel. You need petrol." He responds, "Nah, brother, that's okay. We only go into Laverton." "Yeah, nah, it ain't gonna happen. Sorry, guys." I take off, warning everyone about the carload of hooligans right on the side of the highway. And now I'm heading back after the first load, and as I pass the broken down vehicle, for the second time, they start jumping on the road, trying to make me stop. Not happening, guys. I put on the air horn and drive straight towards them. Sure enough, once I'm about 200 meters away, they run off the road. I got back to rail, rang the authorities in Lenora, and they promised to send the car out. Then I head out on the second load, and the coppers overtake me before I get there, so no troubles when I get past. Coming back from the second load, the coppers are just leaving. The hooligans have gotten a fire going, and they had pushed the car well off the road. Third load, and by now it's nearly 3 a.m., and I figured it'd be a nice, quiet run. Not likely. Now for a bit of information. I'm driving a fully loaded triple trailer road train, grossing 147 tons, and coming in at about 40 meters long, say 325,000 pounds, and 130 feet for our American brethren. I'm doing 90 kilometers per hour approaching the broken down car, and the fire's burnt low, and it looks like they're all asleep. Then I notice a dark patch in the middle of my lane. I figure it's probably a dead kangaroo, so I move over to the opposite lane to avoid it. I kid you not, this dark pile jumps out of my original lane, runs over and lies down in the middle of the opposite lane, directly in my path. So I move back to my correct lane, and the pile jumps up, runs over, and lies down in the original spot. I start slowing down, spotlight shining, grab a hold of the dang horn cord again. I slowly start to swerve into the oncoming lane again, and a second dark pile jumps off the side of the road, runs out, and lies down in this lane.
My gosh.
So now I've got 2 lumps to avoid, and I just gave in to the inevitable. I took my foot off the brakes, slammed the throttle to the floor so hard I nearly punched a hole through the firewall, and aimed for the gap between them. I pulled and never let go of the air horn. It was just screaming to the world that I was coming. Well, dang, that didn't work at all. There's not enough room between them for me to fit through, but I'm committed. There's no way I can stop in time. So I just screwed up my eyes and kept rolling, and thank the Lord these boys gave in. Right at the last second, they both bailed off the road and disappeared into the bush. But I'm willing to bet they never tried that stuff again. How stupid do you have to be?
And it's sulfuric acid.
Yeah, and granted, it was probably...
He's doing 90K fully loaded, triple, 130 feet. That thing ain't going to stop at 90K.
No.
Oh, my God.
That's a whole lot of stupid.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I hope they got their gas eventually, because there's way too much stupid in that one carload of people. You don't lay on a freaking road.
No.
All right. This is number 69. One wrong move. I worked at the Nevada nuclear test site decommissioning old buildings. And one of the creepiest days when I was sent with an end dump load of non-hazardous material to the landfill, which I'd never been to before. Somehow I missed the turn and ended up in an armed gate with machine guns pointed at me. Very uncomfortable. Once I explained the mistake, I was quite hastily turned around. Sorry.
Oh, goodness.
Sorry. Still not knowing exactly where my turn was. I was looking for a very nondescript desert road. I headed back. I turned onto the next dirt road I came to and had to take a break. My hands were still shaking from the run-in with the armed guards.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's a whole different kind of feeling, I imagine, having a bunch of guns leveled at you.
Yeah.
Ugh. This is number 70, Creepy Crawlies. This one sounds good. My mom is a trucker, and this is her story. She was driving through Arizona when she said what she thought was leaves blowing across the road in the distance, and this puzzled her since there's mostly pine trees in northern Arizona. When she finally got to the leaves, she realized that they really were and had to stop herself from screaming. They were actually migrating tarantulas, thousands of them. There were so many of them that her truck was sliding on their guts, so she had to slow down. She stopped at the first truck stop and told her co-driver to fuel up. He was sleeping at the time because she wasn't going to step foot outside after what she had just seen. Her co-driver was angry since it was technically his time off, and he thought she was crazy until he saw the tarantula guts and legs caked on the inside wheel well of the truck. Oh my God. I didn't realize those things migrated. How far, I wonder, did they go? That's really, really weird. This is the corner of your eye. I was driving through a national park in the middle of the night going through a slow stretch, and every so often, I think I see something in the window and beside me. Just a glimpse of movement. When I look, though, I don't catch it. Finally, on about the third time, I whip my head around really fast, and this time, I recognize it. It's a huge black wolf following alongside my truck just off the highway. I only saw it for a few seconds before I had to focus back on the road, but it was absolutely lovely yet unsettling.
Wow.
Yeah, why is it running by I mean, do wolves do like cars? Dogs chase cars. I don't know.
Especially huge black wolves.
Yeah, that's very weird. Automatically I'm thinking skinwalker, right? So
I was thinking direwolf.
Oh, yeah, well, there's that too, I guess. But wow, this one says Satan take the wheel. Uh-oh. On I-25 south of Albuquerque, there's a huge dip in the road that goes straight down on one side of a canyon and then up on the other. And I'm a very cautious driver, so I took the downgrade slow and crawled up the other side with my hazards on, looking in my mirror. I see headlights from another truck at the bottom, and then 2 jets of flame shooting like 20 feet into the air above it. Oh, jeez. This truck runs past me doing 80 miles per hour up the slope. I didn't even know it was possible to put nitrous into a semi. I thought the devil himself was riding up on me.
Jeepers creepers.
This one's clowning around. In the 90s, I lived in a logging camp on the northern British Columbia. It was a big one made up of trailers that had about 300 people living there, including families. I drove a water truck on weekends when the camp had days off, and when driving on logging roads, you radio your kilometer markings with the name of the road to avoid collisions. Empty on Windfall 10 to say you were 10 clicks on the Windfall Road heading away from camp, and loaded on Windfall 10 to say you were coming back. Anyway, being that it's the weekend, I didn't expect anyone to be hanging around except a skeleton crew. I had no idea that it was a kid's birthday party up on top of the top end of the Windfall Road. I was in for a nasty surprise. It's beautiful up there with a clear landing and a pond, so why not? The family hired 2 clowns from a nearby town for the kids. Apparently the clowns wrapped up their show and were heading back to camp, and they were not using the radio. I'm on the road with a big water truck doing 50 kilometers per hour, and they come speeding around a corner doing 50 in a freaking clown car, and we almost collide.
Oh, shit. Wow.
I blasted the horn as this car with a plastic star on its roof goes whipping by with 2 screaming clowns inside. And I could just not figure out what the heck just happened.
Damn clowns, anyhow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow. All right, so dinosaur screams. When driving on 80 East, I saw a semi 2 truck lengths in front of me. Dirt bounce off the drift, bounce off the median barrier and then regain traction, tip and slide on its side.
Ooh.
The entire load was all over the freeway, and it was the most god-awful noise I've ever heard. It's what I would imagine a T-Rex getting shot and then dying sounds like.
Wow.
Well, there's that. I hope everybody was okay. Not really paranormal, but anyway, have you seen this trailer? Have you seen the trailer? My dad was a truck driver about 13 to 15 years ago. While resting at the side of the road, he woke up in the morning to find that his entire trailer had been robbed empty.
Wow.
My dad has never been a heavy sleeper, and his cargo could not possibly have been taken without at least a forklift.
Right.
My dad suspects that they must have been used a pump to get some kind of chloroform into his cabin to make sure he couldn't wake up. Oh, no.
How did his bank account look after that incident?
Why?
Just saying.
Did he? I don't know.
Just saying.
That's really weird.
I was drugged.
Wonder what he was carrying. What could he? Why, I mean, that's hard to know, but wow. Who let the dogs out, Don?
Who let the dogs out?
Oof, 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 oof. All right. I was driving along I-15 in Idaho.
Nice.
Do you know where that is?
Yep.
I don't.
It heads east.
Heads east. Okay. And there was a stray dog walking down the road.
You go over Montana. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. He stopped, sat down, and began to stare right at me as I approached. I then suddenly get this strong, ominous urge to pull over, so I did. He jumped right up into the cab, and I rode off with him. I then pulled up to the nearest truck stop where the dog got out and wandered off.
Okay.
Sometimes I wonder if it was a ghost pup of some sort, or maybe if some trucker had forgotten his dog, and the dog figured out the best way to find his owner again would be to look for a truck. Or perhaps the dog was simply hitchhiking. In any case, the sensation of or feeling like I had to pull over for the dog was definitely the weirdest thing I've ever felt in my life. He did have a cute little bandana, though, so maybe that was part of it. The whole thing made me feel like I should get a trucker dog to keep me company on the road, but it's a rough lifestyle, so I wouldn't wish it on anyone. That is. I imagine it is. That's wild. You got to wonder, what was the story there?
Yeah.
I mean, it stayed a dog. It's not like it disappeared. It's not like it became something else.
Yeah, he just got out and wandered away.
But, you got to wonder. That dog was on a mission.
Yeah.
Poor horse is the next one. My dad had been a truck driver in the Netherlands for about 30 years now, and he was leaving our town at 3 a.m. for some store deliveries. He drives off with a colleague, and a kilometer outside of my town, he hits the brakes because there's a horse walking on the road. His colleague behind him stops as well and is informed about the situation over the CB. The two trucks, which look the same, both yellow, blue Scania box trucks with an additional blue trailer, are standing still on a quiet road in the middle of the night. A guy pulls up behind them in an Audi A6 station wagon, and he, of course, did not know what was going on, and after a few minutes, the horse wasn't moving. He got very annoyed with the trucks, and the truck standing still, and it would be a choice he'd come to regret. He floored it to get past them. He crashed into the horse, slaying it and totaling his car. The guy ended up going to the hospital, but this all happened in front of my father's eyes. Pretty terrifying stuff. The guy ended up surviving, but my dad was pretty messed up about it.
Yeah.
Aw. Wonder if they couldn't have just gotten out and urged the horse off. But anyway, no laughing matters. The next one. While driving near the north end of mainland Michigan one time, I saw a car stopped on the side of the highway. We hadn't seen a car for a while, as it was about 2 a.m. I commented to my buddy, poor sucker, but as soon as we passed the car, its lights came on and it got back on the road. Odd timing, right? And then it began gaining on us. I told my friend to speed up, and he did. He sped up more and more as the car kept closing in, and we're doing 120, and this guy was catching up to us. We saw an exit with the hotel, so we took it and drove right in front of the building where it was well lit, and we could see the front desk clerk clearly. The car got off at that exit too. It drove into the hotel parking lot right behind us. Then it turned around and got back on the highway. I'll never know what the guy wanted from us, and I'm more than fine with remaining a mystery. Yeah, I'll bet you, man. There's all kinds of people pulling all kinds of crap out there. Be careful, folks. Got to be careful. Listen to your gut. Listen to your intuition. This one's Mountain Man. I was hauling logs in Idaho. That's common up here, Don.
Yeah.
And was coming down during a snowy winter night. And he was putting on chains. It says my friend was hauling logs. Okay. He was putting on chains before heading down a steep grade, and he said all of the hairs suddenly stood up on his body. It felt like there was something watching him. Halfway down the switchbacks, he saw a large figure standing on a 20-foot embankment.
Mm-hmm.
As he got closer, it jumped down, and the shoulders were as tall as his cab. In a single bound, it leaped down and then leaped over the other side of the embankment, and at the time, he thought it was a Sasquatch. Now he said it was probably a demon trying to make him crash. He didn't stop to remove the chains until he was well away from the mountain. Yeah, that's crazy.
I think you read that one before.
I did, but it was not from this. It's, again, a repeat.
Yeah, true.
We picked it up from somewhere else. That one is familiar, though. Prized bulldog is next. One night after completing a water delivery, my grandfather stops at a roundabout to let another car go through. It doesn't, and soon people hop out with knives and tools while they yell at him to cut the engine and to hop out of the truck. Well, he guns it, smashing their car out of the way, and goes around the roundabout and drives to the nearest authorities to tell them what had happened. The reason behind the ambush was strange. He thinks they were trying to take the bulldog hood ornament from his truck because the only way to get it is to steal it or buy a Mack truck. Oh, so all of that for the little bulldog.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
They probably sell them for a lot of money, though.
Probably. All right. A Shadow of Doubt is number 81. The company I drive for picks up cast iron pipe at a place not far out of town, and I've had to pick up there several times after dark when no one else is there because it's a 24-hour place. Every time I've been there after dark, I can hear the groaning sounds behind trailers and the sound of something tapping on the trailers. The second time I loaded there at night, I noticed the same thing, but this time there was a dark silhouette of somebody standing between two trailers while I was throwing straps.
Ew.
After that, I quit throwing straps at night if there was no other drivers hooking up. I also park in the street outside right under the streetlight and wait until daybreak. I don't know what it is, and I'd rather not find out.
I can't say I blame you.
Yeah, that's good math right there, Don.
Yep, 1 and 1 plus equals 2.
Yep. Like a deer in the headlights. My dad used to drive for a commercial grocery store back in the day, and this was probably 1975 or 80, and the route he drove took him past a hospital for the mentally ill. Apparently, the place wasn't known for its security because my dad would pass people walking down the road in varying levels of nudity. He said he would see about 1 or 2 escaped patients a week, and eventually it became a pretty normal thing. He told me the creepiest part one day. He said that sometimes they would look at the headlights the way a deer or wild animal would, and he was terrified that one day they would just run out in front of the truck. They never did, though. Just stared and watched him drive by. Yeah, that's got to be a tortured existence, to be just twisted and mentally and not really know what's going on. But that's really scary stuff. This one is Zombie Moose. Oof. My friend who works as a trucker once passed a completely totaled car on the side of the road with seemingly dead moose in front of it. My friend got out to help the guy, and out of nowhere, the moose rose up, screaming in its moose tongue, and then ran away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's lots of stories I've heard. I mean, ever since being little, my dad, when he was in the National Guard, was stationed up in Alaska for periods, and he said that there were stories of moose getting hit by cars, getting up and totaling the car, and then walking away.
Yep.
Yeah,
they're hardy fellows.
They are. They're huge animals, folks. Wow. Both jinx.
Pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
All right, cool as a cucumber's next. Former trucker here. I was driving north through the mountains of Colorado towards Pueblo, and it was my first time dealing with anything like Rocky Mountains, so I was taking it nice and slow with my hazards on in the right lane. And this is spring, and there wasn't much snow on the ground aside from a light dusting. I remember passing another truck pulled to the shoulder on my way up, nothing out of the ordinary. However, as I was heading down the mountain, which can be scary as heck, in an 18-wheeler, I saw the same truck I passed earlier fly past me in the left-hand lane. Now, being passed on the left going downhill in the Rocky Mountains by another tractor trailer is crazy enough. But what really makes this story, the guy's trailer brakes were on fire.
Oh,
Oh, no.
wow.
He was pulling a load, I could tell, because the trailer was sealed. If you know anything about trucks, you know there's only so much braking you're supposed to do before they overheat.
We're about to
And worse,
end the day.
cause the fire. Oh, well, we're gonna have to stop it there, folks. Sorry, I ran right through. But thank you all for joining us. Stick around for Paisley Wild coming up next. Spaces Between coming up next on TFR iHeart. Tune in to TalkStream Live, and you can check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/spacesbetween. We love you. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Don?
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Love, love, love.